Pro Football Focus just released their unbelievable Nebraska grades versus UCLA, and they are the craziest of the year so far, and it isn't even particularly close. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my instant reaction. Who played well for Nebraska, who didn't, how did TJ Lateef grade out Emmett Johnson, and so much more. And speaking of Emmett Johnson, the Heisman campaign has officially begun. Nebraska fans nationwide and fans all over the Big Ten are calling for him to get an invite to New York City. We'll talk about it, the betting odds, whether or not Emmett Johnson is actually in the Heisman race, a couple injury updates, talking to Sam McCullough and Rex Guthrie, my reaction to a couple quarterback benchings from yesterday, and my reaction to every single Big Ten game and their implications toward the Big Red. So real quick, this is a loaded video. Hey, if you're having a good Sunday, because I know I am, hit that like button. It's a victory Sunday. And also, if you're a diehard Nebraska fan and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for daily contact and Huskers? It's no brainer. It takes 2 seconds. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. But without further ado, we have a lot to talk about. I want to get things started with all the Pro Football Focus grades. Then we'll get to the news from today, the Emmett Johnson Heisman campaign, my reaction to all the Big Ten games because they were nuts. But let's start off with the grades. Let's start off with our true freshman starting quarterback, how he performed against UCLA according to Pro Football Focus. I kid you not. In TJ Lateef's first ever start on the road in a game that we were the underdog in, he received a grade of 85, which is not only one of the best quarterback grades nationwide from this week, it was Nebraska's best quarterback grade of the season, according to Pro Football Focus. Dylan Raiola, in 9 games, did not have a grade of 85 at any point. It was always below that. TJ Lateef in 1 game had that. He did that. So, again, I told you guys, when we talk about this quarterback controversy, we'll discuss it at large tomorrow, we got to stick with the facts. And the facts are the facts that TJ Lateef had the best quarterback performance of the year, not only from a statistics standpoint, not only from a Pro Football Focus grade standpoint, but when you look into the film, it was also that way, with his poise, right? With his efficiency. He was effective and he was efficient. No interceptions, 3 passing touchdowns, the only time that's ever been done by a Nebraska quarterback the past 3 years. And once again, that was his first ever start. Imagine how good he's going to be with 2 more weeks of preparation ahead of Penn State, ahead of Iowa. He's special. And also, I want to show you guys this stat that I saw last night after we were ending our live stream. TJ Lateef, in his first ever start, is the only true freshman in FBS history to have a game with 200 plus passing yards, 3 or more passing touchdowns, 2 or fewer incompletions, and over 30 rushing yards. Historic. History was made. I'm just saying. This kid can ball. So again, I know a lot of people, they will have all these excuses. They say UCLA wasn't very good. The secondary wasn't very good. The D-line wasn't very good. You know, Emmett Johnson was carrying him. You can make every excuse you want. I guess a lot of Nebraska fans just aren't rooting for TJ. That's the sad reality of it. There are a lot of Nebraska fans who, you know, in their heart, they love Dylan. And that's okay. You can love Dylan, but you also have to acknowledge when we have not 1, but 2 good quarterbacks. And Dylan's a good quarterback, but TJ Lateef is also good, and he proved yesterday why he might be better. We got to see it again. We got to see it again versus Penn State. Don't get me wrong. But again, not only did he play well, he put up historic numbers, and by far was our best quarterback performance of the year. And also, it should be mentioned, people will say, well, again, they'll say the secondary was so bad that he played against. Well, we've played against bad secondaries all year, against Michigan State, against Maryland, right? This was not the worst defense we played all season. And yet, when we played those other teams with a different quarterback, we threw multiple interceptions, like we did versus Maryland on the road. That Maryland game was very comparable to UCLA. In that ball game, we had 3 interceptions. In this ball game, we had 0. I'm just saying, we got to stick with the facts. And the facts are the facts. TJ Lateef balled out. Again, I'm incredibly proud of him. And again, we'll talk about it more ad nauseum in tomorrow's video. It will be centered around that discussion. All right, let's get to the rest of the Pro Football Focus grades. Emmett Johnson received a grade of a 76, which honestly, I'm surprised it was that low. Obviously, the numbers were absolutely historic as well. He did receive a receiving grade of 90, which is his highest of the season. He also had the highest pass blocking grade that he's received all year long. So Emmett Johnson, he did have a good Pro Football Focus grade, but I thought it was going to be at least in the 80s, but he got a grade of a 76 overall. The wide receivers actually graded out pretty decent as well. Dane had a grade of a 70. Jacory Barney also had a grade of a 70. Nyziah had a grade of a 77. So again, the receivers, all of them got off the milk carton for the first time since Houston Christian, since again, very early on the season. I'm just saying again, well, there was no change in this offense. The only change is that we had a change of quarterback. Okay, we played against this bad secondary, sure, but we've played bad secondaries all year long. But the receivers all balled out and they got open, they got separation, and also they blocked their tails off. Nyziah had a really good block on the Emmett Johnson screen pass that went all the way for a touchdown. Offensive line, honestly, the offensive line didn't grade out as well as I thought they would. Elijah Pritchett got a grade of a 60. Turn Corcoran was also in the 60s. They had some decent running grades in there. I think both Henry Lusevsky and Turn Corcoran in the running game alone, they graded out in the 70s. And actually, the highlight of our grading on the offensive line was Rocco Spindler. He had an 82 passing grade, which was one of the best of the year. So the offensive line, I honestly thought it played better than what the Pro Football Focus grades indicate. I told you guys sometimes they can be flawed, right, when it comes to the offensive line. However, I also told you guys the offensive line wasn't perfect yesterday. There were times where the pocket did in fact break down, but there wasn't a sack taken because TJ with his legs, he outside the pocket with his pocket presence, and he would make something happen with his legs or his arm. So sometimes it just takes a mobile quarterback to kind of understand that, yes, our offensive line's not very good, but you should not have ever been taking as many sacks as what we were with Dylan. Okay. Just saying. As for the defense, let's hop into those grades. The D-line actually graded out pretty decent. Keona Davis got a grade of 77 again. I thought he had a really good ball game. He was wrecking. He was wrecking it on defense. It was his best game probably of his career. And it should be noted, Keona Davis was a former UCLA commit. I forgot about that. He was a longtime UCLA commit. And then of course they fired Chip Kelly. Or Chip Kelly left, excuse me. He decommitted. He went to Nebraska very last second. I believe he signed in February, right? People forget about that. So it's kind of a revenge game for him, and he played up to it. Williams Neri had a grade of a 65. And Popple graded out pretty well in the 70s, which I was kind of shocked by. Gabe Moore also was in the 70s. I thought Gabe Moore, he's been playing some good snaps for Nebraska. So shout out to the D-line. Besides that, the D-line was pretty bad. Cam Lenhard, those other guys. Linebacker core did not grade out very well. DBs graded out pretty solid. Deshaun Singleton got a 78. Sear Wright 75. Marshall 73. I honestly thought Marshall quietly had probably his best game of the season yesterday. Was really impressed with Marshall. Again, secondary, it wasn't their fault that Nico had 200 passing yards. Like the secondary was doing their job. It was just the defensive line wasn't getting as much pressure as they should have, and Nico had all day, and he's picking apart this defense because of it. All right, those are the Pro Football Focus grades. Yeah, those are eye-opening for sure. Okay, it's one thing to hear a certain player played well according to Nebraska fans. It's another thing to get that attention nationwide, according to statistics. Not being subjective, no feelings involved, but statistics and film alone. Those are the grades, and they speak for themselves. All right, let's get to all the news from today. I want to start off with Emmett Johnson because I told you guys last night after what he did versus UCLA, Emmett Johnson, effective immediately, needs to be in the Heisman race. He just needs to be. Effective immediately. Okay, this was tweeted out a couple hours ago. Emmett Johnson, within 11 weeks, is first in America in yards from scrimmage, including both the rushing yards and receiving yards. Okay, he is second in rushing yards, only second to a running back at Jacksonville State. He is fourth in total touchdowns nationwide. And this is all with a inconsistent offensive line, with two different quarterbacks, with an inconsistent offensive coordinator who was previously an air raid type of guy. The stats speak for themselves, man. Unbelievable year. Okay, so you're seeing all over social media, not only within the Nebraska fan base, but again, a lot of national people are starting to say, okay, Emmett Johnson needs to be in the Heisman race because the Heisman race is wide open. It's not like we have a front runner who's taking it away. You know what I mean? There's no Travis Hunter this year. Okay, there's no Ashton Genty. Like right now, the Heisman odds, Julian Sainz number one, Mendoza's number two. Like, I mean, those are good quarterbacks. They should probably, should Emmett win over those two? No. But Emmett should be in the race. Okay, I'll tell you right now, Emmett's outperforming a lot of these other players. Like Jeremiah Love has higher betting odds than Emmett. Are you kidding me? Jeremiah Love's a great running back, but he has a lot of help, especially with his O-line. And Emmett has better statistics and better film. So it's crazy to me that he's even in there. Same with the old Jeremiah Smith. Okay, how in the world is Gunnar Stockton in the Heisman race? How? He's trash. I've watched a lot of Georgia football this year. He's not what they've had in the past. So I'm not asking for Emmett to win the Heisman. Okay, don't get me wrong. I'm just asking for Emmett to get an invite. Okay, get him an all expenses paid free trip over to New York City. Have him have a chair, a ceremony, and get him an opportunity to potentially win. I'm not asking to win it. I'm just asking, put some respect on his name and give him an invite and start talking about him nationally. Okay, stop talking about these bums who don't have as good of statistics as Emmett does. Okay, if you're going to talk about Jeremiah Love, that's cool. He's great, but also put Emmett in the same conversation. He's just as good, if not better. But I'm happy to hear not only Nebraska fans understand how good Emmett is, I think a lot of national people woke up yesterday. They did. And you're going to start to see that throughout the week. All right, let's get to a couple injury updates. Of course, it was a big shocker right before the game. It was announced that the Samakola would not suit up. Now, we were all kind of concerned, like, what happened there? Was it some freak injury? Was he suspended? I received confirmation this morning that it was a stinger injury that he had on Thursday. So, again, nothing crazy. He should be back next week. But, again, something that they decided, help, he can't go. We're not going to risk it with him. And he'll be back. He'll get healthy, of course, within these next couple weeks. And then he'll be going to Penn State and play against them. So, again, stingers are something you don't want to mess with, right? That's definitely something that can reoccur over and over again. It's not something that'll go away just overnight. So again, it's fine. It really didn't impact the defense as much as we thought it was. I mean, obviously we couldn't get a pass rush yesterday, but it is what it is. Samakola, he hasn't played his best football these past couple weeks anyways. But again, good news. He will be back against Penn State, not a long-term issue. Also, really, the only injury we had throughout the game was Rex Guthrie. It looked like it was a shoulder injury at the time. Happy to report he came back in the ball game, and he should be 100% cleared. Just kind of a bang-bang play, and he'll be ready to go going into Penn State. So, good news around Guthrie. And then, I wanted to mention this. I don't know if you guys saw this. Florida benched starting quarterback DJ Lagway yesterday versus Kentucky. They got blown out. They got embarrassed. Interesting, huh? DJ Lagway benched, you say? I was told by all these national media members all summer long that he was the best quarterback in college football. No joke. Josh Pate, that's what he said. Best quarterback in college football. That he's so much better than Dylan Raiola. That's what I heard. Oh, but he got benched, eh? Oh, okay. And also, Garrett Nussmeier got benched for LSU. I mean, that just tells you the national media has no idea what they're talking about. It tells you they overrate the SEC every single offseason. That's where it all stems. They overrate the SEC. And they were talking reckless. They were never talking about Dylan, but they were talking about all these other dudes. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Dylan played the best season. He didn't. Dylan also has not lived up to his expectations, but he's definitely outperformed these guys. So never, ever disrespect our quarterback again and put up these other guys who aren't doing anything, who are getting benched, who are getting embarrassed at terrible programs. And their coach got fired a couple weeks ago. I'm just saying. But thought I would mention it because, again, that was a debate we had all season long. As for my reaction to every single Big Ten game, there were some crazy ones, and they have some significant implications toward Nebraska. We know that USC blew out Northwestern. This was actually a ball game in the first half. I told you guys on Thursday, I thought it was going to be a close ball game. I thought that Northwestern would keep it at least a little bit respectable, but then USC, their talent was a little bit too much for the Wildcats. I mean, look at Jay Miles. He threw for 300 yards. Mekhi Lemon had 160. I think that should just tell you how impressive it was that Nebraska shut both of those players down. Again, we should have won that ball game. I truly believe USC is just not that good. I think they're a 9-win team, maybe 8-win team, but from a talent, point, from an execution point, they're not a ranked team. Like if there was any time Nebraska should have got that ranked victory, should have been last weekend. So again, still disappointed we lost that ball game, despite, of course, Dylan going down. Indiana. Thriller over Penn State. I know a lot of Nebraska fans were concerned because it looks like Penn State, they remember how to play football. But honestly, my unique perspective of this game is that I honestly think this is going to derail Penn State's season even more. Although they put up a good showing, I think they gained a lot of confidence over these past couple weeks. They're like, you know what, we're going to go all in for Indiana. And they almost won. But by them losing in a heartbreaker last second, that's going to get rid of any confidence they had. And that's going to screw them mentally more than anything. Like, they have talent, don't get me wrong, but again, sometimes it's deeper than talent. It's deeper than coaching. It's about how you really feel about yourself, your teammates, your confidence level, and I think their confidence is shattered after losing to India. I mean, that was a great catch at the end by Omar Cooper, one of the greatest I've ever seen. Oregon squeaked out win versus Iowa. I was stressed watching this game, man. I was stressed. I mean, Iowa scored with Mark Gronowski on a keeper with 2 minutes left to go. I was like, oh my goodness, it's over. Iowa has them exactly where they want them. And then Dante Moore had a clutch drive to go all the way down the field. So again, Iowa, they're good, man. Iowa, it's going to be a tough ball game. I think Iowa's going to be favored by 5 or 6 points. I really do. Even if we beat Penn State, they're going to be favored. So we'll see what Iowa does next week versus USC. But they got talent. They got quarterback who's getting better, who's a runner, who his arms even improving. They got solid running back core, Kamari Moulton, Xavier Williams, a couple other dudes there. They got stud defense per usual. It's going to be a tough team to beat. No question about it. But I'm happy Oregon won. I'm very, very happy. This is honestly the game that frustrated me the most over this weekend. Wisconsin beat Washington. Why is it that Nebraska makes it look so hard to beat a ranked team, and yet Wisconsin, who going into that bowl game has only won 2 games, beat a ranked Washington in dominant fashion, and they only passed for 48 yards, and they still beat them, and they beat Damon Williams, who's a stud quarterback. They beat Jonah Coleman. It's unbelievable to me. Sometimes Nebraska, we just make things look way too hard. It shouldn't have took 9 years to finally get a ranked victory. And we still don't have one. We're going to go probably 10, 11 years without getting a ranked victory. But Wisconsin, who's having their worst year in a long time, gets it done. That frustrates me, man. That frustrates me. But kudos to Wisconsin. They got it done again. They just gave Luke Fickell, they said they gave him a vote of confidence, and they're keeping him next year. So at least they backed it up with a win, but I still don't think he's going to work there long term. And then Maryland lost to Rutgers. I told you guys when we barely beat Maryland, I was so mad about that game because I told you guys Maryland's trash. Like, even though they were 4-1 at that point in time when we played them. They were 4-1. And again, we barely lost. I told you guys that we should have beat them by a lot because they're going to go on a slide. They always forget how to play football when we get to October, November, and they have not won a game since. They have not won a game since they played us. So I don't know if they're going to win a game for the rest of the season. Who do they play? They play Michigan. They play Michigan State. They're not going to win another game. So again, we should beat Maryland by a lot more. All right, as for the rest of the ball games this weekend, any interesting ones? Again, I had to watch the Bama LSU game because I was too focused on our game. Texas Tech blew up BYU. That one wasn't close. Navy, man, I can't believe Notre Dame blew up my Navy midshipman. That's crazy. California had a thriller. We couldn't watch that one because that was at the same time as our game, but they wanted a thriller on overtime. They went for it on a 4th down and got a touchdown and win. That was crazy. Other than that, another week college football. Vanderbilt, look at that. Vanderbilt got it done. They're still in the playoff race. I think that's good for college football. All right, guys, let me know your thoughts down below about everything the pro football focus grades, TJ Lateef, Emmett Johnson. We're going to have a big time week. I'm excited about this week on the channel. We got some good content coming out. I'm excited. So again, let me know your thoughts down below about everything. Hit that like button, subscribe. As always, folks, go ahead, go Earl, and I'll see you in the next one.